You're kidding me. Muppet, you're an idiot. Done. Yeah, we only lost 7 duplicates. G'day, mate. Welcome back to Oxford Included with me, JD. And I decided for episode 30, well, we decided, myself and JD here, who's currently attached to a machine trying to have a thought, have decided for episode 30, we should really do a base tour. So, we're going to complete the neural process, and I now have deep diver's lungs. So, I am now both the leader of our lovely Doomsday Cult colony. Yes, we are part of a Doomsday Cult. This is the differentiating part of this series compared to all other series. Us duplicates believe that the world is going to come to an end, and consequently, we went and teleported ourselves through the Great Wormhole to a whole new spot where we could try and live out the end of the world. So, we're on RIME, and actually, because we've got a blueprint, a duplicate here, we might as well print one. Sure. And BV Gorp. So we're going to print out a BV Gorp. Now, BV Gorp literally just nominated himself to be a sacrifice. Now, the difference between a sacrificial dupe and a normal dupe is, like, every good cult needs to bring in new people all the time. We have 2 ways of bringing in people. We either bring in a sacrifice who may work their way up and may finally earn themselves a pretty hat, or we have Patreons who just paid their way to getting a hat. So one of the perks for my Patreon members, any member, from the $2 and up club, automatically get a hat in this series, and they can also have themselves nominated to join this series. So we're going to very, very quickly give BV Gorp a thing to do. He is now going to be in construction. He does not get a hat because he's a lovely sacrifice, but he's really, really active in my Discord, and nice chap to hang around with. At the same time, we should look at his schedule. We actually have some free spots, so okay, sacrifice 1 and sacrifice 2 both have room. So hang on, just a little bit of housekeeping. Sacrifice 1. Whoop. Sacrifice 1. Sacrifice 2. Night sacrifice. Who else? Gareth. Gareth, out of that schedule. Okay, that'll do us for the moment. I'll make another schedule when I get around to it. So, we're on RIME. And if you remember, RIME is a very, very cold map. Unfortunately, we didn't have any duplicates decide to spawn with hypothermia this time around, but we're on RIME. So, we have slowly been working on this map, and we're going to do a bit of a tour and go through some of the details. So, as I said, we're on RIME. We're in a miscalculated pod location. So, rather than starting center mass of the map, we actually started down the bottom left-hand corner, which was great. It was close to the warm biomes down the bottom. The catch was everything was freezing cold, so it took us a while to get there. Now, going through things really, really quickly. Any of these lovely duplicates that don't have a hat live in the starter base, the central base. They live off whatever food they happen to harvest. Nothing gets cooked. We're not that kind to these duplicates. They have cots to live in with not a terrible decor. The only reason this is green is because we have metal tiles in, mainly for when vol pups get printed by the printing pod, so they don't run away from us. They do come with their complimentary morbs from the original outhouses of the base. So yeah, this place is not exactly what you would call a very friendly place to live. We will go look at the proper housing for the important members of our cult shortly, but one thing at a time. So our main food source for really just the important duplicates is our hatcheries. Our hatcheries are automatically fed from our main conveyor system, and we bring in sedimentary rock, if I actually had any in stock, would be really, really nice, into these conveyor receptacles, where an auto sweeper fills up these critter feeders and basically keeps these critters mainly hands off. The duplicates don't spend a lot of time here. They do come in here and groom them from time to time, but that's pretty much it for these guys. At the same time, they also have a conveyor loader, which is also run by this auto sweeper, and the conveyor loaders ship out all the important things. So that would be the coal, the egg, and the coal, the eggs, and any meat from any of these hatches that happen to age until the end of their life cycle. All of that is shipped over on our conveyor line directly in here, and it's just dumped into our hatchery. These are all things I've actually done separate videos on. If you're curious on any part of these, there is a playlist down the description for basically my whole tutorial series, and everything is shipped in here. So any meat, any eggs, any egg shells, if I ever get egg shells, and any coal is shipped in here. Now, all this stuff drops down into this lovely liquid tile right here, which is just for any hatches that don't quite need to go and get incubated. I did notice prior to starting this episode that the incubators had lost their priority, probably because I did a level 1 sweep across the map, and it's dropped in here, along with, as we saw, just a little piece of meat just got dropped in. Now, any eggs that need to be dropped off can be dropped off. Otherwise, yeah, they just come in here, and eventually these particular hatches will hatch underwater, like this one's about to do after the autosave. And he'll just evolve underwater into his final media form. We don't bother taking them out, we just leave them there, so that way they can self-evolve. If they happen to grow up and we don't have a need for them to reseed any of the stock over here, they actually get brought over to this special chamber, which is oops, wrong bar. This special chamber over here, which we'll just run through really quickly. All these doors shut systematically one by one, and just sort of slightly increase the water level in here and cause any hatches, puffs, chevals, any other critters that we don't have a need for to automatically evolve into their media form. Speaking of their media forms, we do have a piece of meat who's about to... there's our igneous rock. So yeah, our igneous rock comes into these conveyor receptacles and just gets shipped straight in the critter feeders. Meanwhile, let's follow that piece of meat. It automatically gets shipped across into the proper duplicate base. And this game is having issues with all my conveyor bridges. It's obviously not a fan of them today. This was working. I checked it when we loaded the game. Put that there. Put that back, and then it will probably just start magically working. So, all our meat, our mushrooms, any food that can be cooked automatically gets shipped up here into our specially designed chlorine kitchen. And you might ask, JD, why a chlorine kitchen? The simple answer is, why not? Food is 100% sterile at all times and never, ever goes bad. On top of that, any germs come in here, obviously, in chlorine. Yeah, see, I just replaced both those bridges. Did nothing else, and everything just ships in magically. Ooh, oxygen not included. Yeah, everything just ships in here automatically. It passes through this conveyor loader. This conveyor loader, duplicates can actually reach through this water lock. Yes, I have a one-tile water lock with 32 grams of water holding back 12 kilograms of chlorine. Yep, that got slightly overpressured whilst I wasn't watching. With a second water lock down here, also at 32 grams worth of water. And everything's automatically shipped in here. Our auto sweeper takes care of all the important things, shipping our meat over here to be turned to barbecue, along with any fish. We do get to the fish shortly. And mushrooms are also dropped on the ground to also be turned into fried mushroom. Once that's done, everything that's already cooked by Mr. Fry Guy over here will get shipped into this conveyor loader and brought down here and dumped on the floor right here, where hopefully Crisis going to demonstrate for us, just reaches through the liquid lock in the wall and grabs the food to go have his meal. So all our duplicates in. This is our main base. This is our pretty shiny base where we take care of all our nice, happy duplicates. These are the ones that have proven themselves in our cult to be, true believers. So in here we have just a little bit of decor to start with. We like happy dupes, so we go with maximum decor. As you can see, we are still running with cots, because cots is more than enough for them. But we have like aero pots giving maximum decor. We have a floor of genius sculptures shining through the glass floor, another floor above. The only thing that doesn't really have any sort of decor bonuses is this little utility room right here, but even with what we've got going on, it's more than enough. On top of that, as a great hall in here, which comes with complimentary shine bugs, just for that little bit of extra decor buff. Another pile of genius sculptures, another duplicate room for more trusted duplicates. They've got a jukebox to keep them happy. And then finally we're up to our Pacu farm. Our Pacu farm is another automated farm. We bring eggs up here. Eggs are automatically hatched. And then if any one of these cedar blocks needs a new Pacu, the duplicates will come up here and drop them into their corresponding fish releases. Occasionally accidents happen, and we occasionally leave a Pacu fry on the floor. That's okay. He will, after another 23 cycles, automatically level up into his media form, at which point this auto sweeper will come down here, grab him, and ship him off on the conveyor loader, as you can guess it, off to our kitchen. At the same time, here we go, Ethan is about to do it. He's about to drop another fish into our fish bowl. Our fish bowl down here is, oh, there's another fish, decor overlay. Our fish bowl down here has, what's that, 23, 24, 32, 33, 36 fish in there currently, and the number is continually going up. There's just a few fish in there, not too many, just a few. So that is our main base. Oh, on top of down here, on top of that, we've already built the monument. That was child's play. We threw a monument in. We have a glass forge that needs to be shipped out elsewhere, and it also comes with its very own little copper volcano, which we have completely tamed. Again, using auto sweepers, it's completely automated when it erupts, and of course it's 0.3 of a cycle. We might be able to come back and watch it. When it erupts, it leaves its copper on the ground, and eventually this auto sweeper, according to its timer, picks up the copper, throws it into the receptacle. When the timer swings around again, the receptacle spit it out, and at the moment we just drop it on the floor. We do need to ship it into central storage, which is probably what we should look at next. Central storage is a couple of automated dispensers with the hardest working weight plate in the world. This particular weight plate is up to, what's that, 10,000 tons of material is sitting on it. Basically, we have all these set to sweep only for, those items that we actually want to keep. Obviously, we're not shipping in seeds, we're not shipping in polluted dirt, rot pile slime, any of that sort of stuff. No liquefiables, no poker shell molds, no vacillator recharges. I don't know why they're not shipped in, but yeah, everything's shipped down here. It's dropped on the floor. This auto sweeper can reload these chests. If we remember, we had Pacu up there. This one's algae to feed to the Pacu. The polluted dirt that comes out of the Pacu is not shipped out yet, but that is something I need to do. We have a general drop chamber. So this gap in our tiles is where any items we don't need and need to go to central storage can literally just be dropped from the top of the map and have a clear path down to our... do not put your mouse over that tile. It's dangerous. Yeah, they all come down, they get dropped on this weight plate, and as you see, we have automated shipping out. So this one is our contents none. Alright, let's try again. Igneous rock. This is our igneous rock to feed our hatches. So they're slowly getting refed bit by bit. As you can see, there's more meat being shipped out. On top of that, let's just go for a quick tour around here. So we have our Infectious polluted oxygen vent. This one is literally designed to get us clay to make ceramic. That is its only purpose in life. It's actually behind a locked door. No duplicates can come in. And again, it's all run by auto sweepers. We're shipping in regolith from space. Again, comes down on a giant conveyor rail. Comes in here and it gets thrown into a whole bunch of deodorizers, which after you have an auto sweeper are completely maintenance free. Again, I have done a whole video on this. I'll hopefully link that up in the top right hand corner as well. And the idea of these deodorizers is they're literally just going to clean the air. If we go to the gas overlay, we have polluted oxygen down the bottom. Everything else is clean oxygen, and our pump at the top is literally just pumping out any oxygen it gets when the pressure gets high enough out of the room. Meanwhile, we're just doing a lot of converting regolith into clay, which is great because that gets shipped out down these conveyor rails into our industrial brick down here to make ceramic. Over here we have a leaky oil fisher. Same story. 100% tamed. We've got an aqua tuna that doesn't run too often, and it's actually serving triple duty, I think. It's cooling this and 2 other volcanoes as well. And yeah, again, we're just piping the oil out to our oil tanks, which again we'll get to shortly. Down the left hand side of the base we have it's since been retired and probably needs to be turned back on. We have our general sweep everything room. This mop everything room. We were dumping our clean water, our polluted water, and our brine in here. We were taking all those waters, all those different liquid types of water, pumping them through a desalinator in case they were salty, which will then pump out clean water. And it came down to our bathroom block, and if it was polluted water, it'd run through the water sieve. If it's not polluted, it just runs straight through the water sieve, no harm, no foul. And we're turning all those waters into oxygen, which is the main oxygen here for all our sacrificial dupes. As you can see, the water tank is absolutely full. It is mostly powered by pea water and whatever the duplicates happen to tip into these bottle empties that were up here. We have our critter feeder here taking care of all our poke shells. These guys are all wild. They're either been printed from the printing press or come naturally on the map because they're one of the few critters that were happy to live between -30 to 100 degrees. Being RIME, everything else in the map was pretty much dead when we got here. So yeah, these guys are just eating any polluted dirt we find along with any food that goes rotten. Because believe it or not, with 29 duplicates, most of them being fed on a lot of barbecue and a lot of surf and turf, with a lot of fried mushrooms if all else fails. A lot of the mushrooms and the meal ice, especially around here, does go rotten, at which point duplicates come up here and dump it into, well, we just saw we delivered some meal ice, critter feeder. Rotten meal ice goes in there, and one of those guys eat it and give us out sand. Sand we're going to turn to glass. So, down here we have our farms. We have just meal ice farm, meal ice farm, meal ice farm. Nothing particularly special. On top of that, we have some mushroom farms. Then we have a natural farm that we made. This does still have a couple of normal tiles in there that I had to, well, that still require slime. We are actually running low on slime, which is a whole separate story. But yeah, this is a natural farm. It is set to it's still got harvest on, but we can turn it off. More often than not, this doesn't actually get harvested. And the mushrooms, after being ready for 2 cycles, drop on the floor. The auto sweepers pick them up, and they ship all our mushrooms out back to the kitchen, as I said. We have our water defrosting area, I guess. If we look under here, and we look under liquefiable. We have just a tiny bit of ice and snow and polluted ice and crude oil even, and brine ice and crushed ice of all things. I don't know what crushed ice is, but we have just a little bit of ice down here. Each one of these storage containers is completely full. We have a liquid temperature here trying to warm these up one at a time. We are slowly defrosting half the map. Going further down, we have our minor volcano. So our minor volcano, we're taking the magma out of it. We're dropping it through I guess a special trick. I can't actually force this to run at the moment because we just don't have enough magma, because the minor volcano just doesn't erupt often enough. They're pretty crap, to be honest. So we're bringing our magma down. It's dropping into here through a special trick of oxygen included. It changes from a liquid at 1600 degrees down to a solid at around about 1500 degrees. When it hits this this mesh tile because we have a temp shift plate here which transfers the heat through here. This was actually a build that I saw another player do, and then I modified it to my suiting. And this gives us a whole bunch of igneous rock down here. At the same time, produces some free power from a magma volcano. The biggest difference is what we've actually done is we've taken that igneous rock, which is, as you can see, 900 degrees Celsius. It's a little bit hot. We were running out of igneous rock to feed to the hatches, so we need to work out a way to start turning or firing up these minor volcanoes and getting out the magma and converting it back into igneous rock to feed our hatches. So what we're actually doing is, again, we have auto sweepers. I have a conveyor loader here and an auto sweeper. This auto sweeper runs once a day, and then the conveyor loader also runs once a day, and they actually ship the material out. It goes along these conveyor rails down through here into a secondary steam chamber, which brings the temperature from 500 odd degrees down to igneous rock, 129 degrees, before it actually exits the chamber. Once it exits the chamber, it's sitting on a metal tile, which is cooled by this aqua tuner that's cooling all 3 steam turbines, and also bringing down the temperature of the igneous rock to what I call semi-reasonable temperatures. I'd like it to be lower, but you know, this is as far as we've got so far. Going down the far bottom of the map, we have just a little bit of ice. Between our melting efforts here, this being a giant chunk of ice, literally from here to here was all ice that we've been slowly melting. We've sort of filled up the bottom of the map. So much and so that I found a pocket of steam, a small pocket of steam of just 500 plus kilos at 500 plus degrees, and we managed to hook up some steam turbines without atmo suits, I might say. No atmo suits were involved in any of this process. In fact, our only atmo suits are used in our Dreco farm, which I do need to cover still. But yeah, we finally got these steam turbines active, and they have been slowly draining this geothermal mass of its heat and producing this free power. Turns out the abyssalite had a couple of breaks in it along here, which has led to, yeah, we're slowly, very, very slowly cooling down the whole magma biome with a bit of geothermal. But yeah, we flooded the whole bottom of the map. We had to put in a giant 3-tile thick wall and a pump down here to pump the liquid out so we could actually run our geothermal again. Continuing across the bottom of the map, we also have a gold volcano. This one's also gone dormant. It's literally a 1-for-1 blueprint from our copper volcano up in the base. We've got a little bit of crude oil at the bottom, a auto sweeper and a conveyor loader, both on like delayed timers. So the auto sweeper runs, the material sits in the conveyor loader for a whole night cycle, well, almost a whole cycle, before the conveyor loader turns on and ships material out, and we have exactly 0 gold on the ground. So obviously the duplicate's got a use for it. Down this side of the map, we still have a bit of a water problem because all this is ice. That's ice. That's ice. Oh, steam vent. Nope, volcano. So we've got a volcano that we've gone as far as capturing so far. We've cleaned the whole area out. We haven't actually set it up to fire it up yet. I did rearrange it to give it a little bit of a larger magma tank, but we'll do that in a future episode. Over here we have a cool steam vent, which we are doing nothing particularly special with. We have filled the whole back of the room with just temp shift plates, put around some plain normal tiles, and if you can see the temperature overlay, we're just letting it just dump its heat into the surrounding atmosphere because we're on RIME. We really don't have to worry about heat in theory. So continue out the right hand side of the map. We've sort of dug out everything. We've got another leaky oil fissure, which I'm just letting. It's basically set up ready to go, but it was filling up and I couldn't be bothered, and it's a long way from here to our heavy wire all the way over there, so I've just let it be leaking onto the bottom of the map. You know, it's not really made much of a dent, I would call. Oh, a geothermal. A geothermal is cooled by the natural environment. there was a large chunk of ice here, and we've just been running our cooling pipe all the way around these ice blocks until they go away and they become no more, at which point we have to go find another ice block. Good news is, on this map, we haven't really run out of ice blocks yet. We're getting close. Sweep. Get rid of that bit. So yeah, up the right-hand side of the map, we have a leaky oil fissure. We have more just, like, space that duplicates haven't dug out. We have yet another cool steam vent, exactly the same build as before. The only difference is this has recently had everything dug out around it, so it's still got a while to heat up the surrounding atmosphere. We have another minor volcano. This one was sort of half built and set up, and then it's been running for a number of cycles, just filling up this magma tank. Consequently, this door's got up to like 1600 degrees, and some of this oxygen is toasty. Oh, I don't really want that sort of variety of building. But yeah, at the same time, I've had to be very, very careful about how we build things, because we have our slave duplicates around the outside of the base and our important duplicates on the inside of the base. And I tell you what, if you give a sacrifice a way to enter the base, they will. And they're going to steal your barbecue. So we've had to be very, very careful about the way our ladders interlock. And if we look at Martin can access everything. If we look at Huff, nope. Crisis, no. Happy cannot get inside the base because these ladders don't touch these ladders. It's been a very tricky process and has led to a couple of accidents where the wrong duplicates have ended up inside the base and eaten far, far too much barbecue. So yeah, we have another minor volcano up here. We have a nice tiny little cool steam vent. We have the top half of the map, which we're also slowly digging out. We have more frozen crude oil at minus 45 degrees Celsius. Yes, the map was that cold. Yeah, we've pretty much dug out the whole right-hand side of the map. Comes back to the main base. We do have an anti-entropy thermo nullifier right here in our base. Should the base ever get too hot, we do have scalding issues fairly regularly. We just sort of accept it now. We have access out the top of the base down to our, well, let's start back down here. Down to our main transit line. So that we have a plastic ladder running the whole length of the map, along with a fire pole. We're about to actually start putting in some transit tubes and getting those up and running. Our Dreco farm, again, it's as automated as we can get it. We have 6 critters in one, 5 critters in the other, which is not bad considering this map, we never had any Drecos to start with. Every single one of these either had to come from breeding or from the printing pod. Same with our balm lilies. They've also either had to come from duplicating one original seed that we got from the printing pod, or by, yeah, lots of waiting for the seed to grow and actually getting a harvest in before a Dreco came and consumed the damn plant on us. So, again, fully automated. We have our shearing station and our grooming station. I think I need to set the priorities on these a little bit higher to make sure dupes actually come do them. We have, well, elderly. So yeah, everything in here, we have 100% auto sweeper coverage in here, along with 2 conveyor loaders. In here we ship out everything. So we ship out the phosphorite, which is the excrement from our Drecos. We also ship out the balm lily flowers. Should ever these guys, you know, get harvested, all that's automatically shipped out as well. At the moment, we're just dumping it on the floor, along with all our Dreco eggs. We do have a set of incubators in here, which are hopefully running once a day, and hopefully, nope. Oh, that one got lullabied at least. So, they are getting lullabied just to get our population back up to where it's meant to be, because we just put in the second Dreco ranch last episode. Continuing down the map, we have ignore that. That's the next episode problem. We have one of our many natural gas geysers. These things, I think we got 3 of these dotted around the map, and we've just been really, really lazy about it. We've literally put in a gas pump made out of steel, so its overheat temperature is nice and high. We've sealed the room in, and I'm literally just trying to trying to build the blocks back one by one to get a better seal in this room. and give us a nice square block. But basically, these things output natural gas at 150 degrees. It's never going to get warmer than that in this room. Our steel pump is rated for over 150 C. So that's pretty much it for this room. It's very, very self-sufficient, and we can just ignore this forever. As long as we put power in, we get natural gas out. Going up the map, we have our industrial brick. Our industrial brick is nothing particularly fancy, but it was enough to get us from early game all the way through to where we are now. As for refined metal, we have 4 tons of copper, no gold because it looks like we're using all of it. 200 tons worth of lead that we've obviously dug up. We've got 22 tons worth of iron, 20 tons worth of aluminium, and if I look at manufactured material, that's the one we want. 30 tons of steel, plus the 10 tons or so that goes into the monument, plus rockets and everything else we've built. 8 tons of glass, which was this poor glass forge up here, which we were actually using originally to heat the base, and like 80 odd tons of plastic, plus all the ladders we've put in. So, our industrial brick. Has obviously steam turbine heat deletion devices. It has a fully self-contained aqua tuner, along with 2 kilns, one running ceramic on infinite and potentially the other one running refined carbon. That one's still being turned on and off manually. On top of that, we have 2 polymer presses, which are hooked straight up on our petroleum line, which at the moment has been turned off. And these guys print our plastic in here, auto sweeper grabs it, also made out of steel, and ships it right to here. So we have 20 odd tons worth of plastic right there. It's all shipped out automatically, 0 dupe interaction. All our metal refineries, if we go back to our plumbing overlay, are fed from one oil pipe, and they all snake through the exact same steam chamber to recapture any heat that we actually transfer into the oil whilst we're, after the refining process. Also, we have done a little bit of automation on these things. You can pause the video here if you want to look at how it works, but long story short, once a day, these smart storage bins get power. When they get power, they actually check to see whether they're full or not. If they're full, they will turn off their corresponding refinery. So this guy is set to steel forever, and we're actually out of lime somehow. So yeah, it's set to steel forever, and it will just keep going until both these bins are full. These are set to 20 tons, and this is set to another 20 tons, so potentially 40 tons, with a higher priority for the normal bin than the smart storage bin. Same with iron, 5 tons, 750 there. Aluminium is 5 tons with another 1 ton in there. And the idea is the duplicates are going to empty from the normal storage bin, and only once the normal storage bin is empty will they start reaching into the smart storage bin. There is a small chance that they might do a little bit of overproduction, like the extra 5 tons of aluminium overproduction there, with the extra 2.3 tons of copper overproduction there, because we don't have a need for these things, so there is a little bit of overproduction. Probably comes down to my clock sensor is on for too much of the day. Down here we have our oil refinery. Our oil refinery, as you all know, uses oil, pumps out petroleum, also dumps some natural gas in the air. We have a mini gas pump, which is running on a mechanical filter, just clearing out all our natural gas and pumping it into our 3 natural gas generators, which have all received engine tune-ups. They're great because we have a whole bunch of lead. We can feed... Oh, actually, we've moved over to copper. We've moved over to copper, it seems, to provide engine tune-ups. Each time you do an engine tune-up, you get an extra 50% power out of your particular generator. So yeah, that's that one. Our aqua tuner that's doing cooling is cooling the steam vents, cooling the steam turbines, cooling our power generator room at the same time. It's also cooling our battery box up here, and because it's not busy enough, we have yet another steam cool steam vent, and it's also cooling down that to a balmy 40 odd degrees. 40 odd degrees is a perfect temperature to at least have duplicates not scald themselves when they run past it. Continuing down our list, we have our natural gas storage room. We have... Hi, Paku. Go away, Paku. We have natural gas storage room. This is using the traditional overpressurized gas vents. We've also got one for hydrogen. We've got like 1.2 tons per tile there, and natural gas we're almost up to 4 tons. We have our polluted water and our clean water, which somehow got germs in it. They're probably never going to go away. 367% dead per cycle. Oh, it's because it's too warm. We got warm water in there. Okay, so we have polluted water, which is, funnily enough, 100% clean. We have clean water that's, funnily enough, polluted or has food poisoning in it. These are your standard overpressurized rooms. We're pumping any polluted water we find into this room. That pipe needs to go. And any clean water into here. We've got 2 inputs for our clean water along with 2 outputs, just because I know how much clean water we end up getting. Same with our saltwater geyser. We have a saltwater geyser we've found along with the miles of salt water we've had down here. Another saltwater geyser that obviously hasn't run in a while because it's been flooded for as long as I can remember. These are both pumping into another overpressurized room. This is giving us plenty of water on the map. I'm actually wondering, could I make a Subnautica, oxygen not included? On top of that, we have a carbon dioxide chamber, which, same story, we're just putting all our carbon dioxide in here for use later. Maybe we'll run slicksters, maybe we'll just vent it into space as cooling, I don't know. We have, this is still a work in progress, this is just dumping water from the bottom of the map. We have our crude oil and our petroleum tanks. We've got lots of crude oil, not so much petroleum. Probably time to make it a petroleum boiler. What else do we have on the map that I haven't covered? We have second infectious polluted oxygen vent. We have a saltwater geyser. This is all that we've done to it. We've literally put in a pump. It's been at a gold. Salt water comes out 95 degrees Celsius. We've insulated the room so it doesn't dump the heat out. Probably could do with a bit more insulation on one side. And that's it. We're just pumping the water out as fast as it comes out of this guy, which is fairly regularly. On top of that, we have one of our electrolyzers. We have one underneath our kitchen, and we've got a second one up here. Literally just provides more than enough oxygen for the base. Between the two of them, I think we're up to about 6 kilos of oxygen per second, potentially. We have yet another cool steam vent. If we go to our palming overlay really quickly, if you remember the leaky oil fisher down here that had an aqua tuner, that aqua tuner is performing triple duty. We could cool down this natural gas. Nah, it's not worth it. It's cooling down the surrounding of the cool steam vent. It's more than enough. I'm actually considering maybe I should just wrap these in insulation and then be done with them. On top of that, it's cooling down the steam turbines, which are cooling down our iron volcano. This goes off in 60 seconds, so we can show how this works really quickly. That never got set. That should be there. That should be there. There we go. Actually, we can demonstrate. Oh, let's turn there. Okay, iron volcano. Iron comes out at 2,500 degrees Celsius into our steam room. Our steam room is just below the steam point of 125 degrees Celsius, but because we have so much thermal mass between the temp shift plates in the background, which are just made out of igneous rock, they are nothing particularly special, they're just in there for thermal mass, along with some petroleum on the floor, we are instantly converting that iron from a liquid state into a solid state, which is dumping the heat into the room, which is now going to run the steam turbines, cool the room. We're dropping our cool water straight on top. That water is literally hitting this and turning straight back into steam. That's not really what we're aiming for there. But we get our 300 kilos worth of iron, which is rapidly dropping the temperature because it's sitting in petroleum. Because it's sitting in a liquid, it does a much better thermal transfer of heat. And then when it's cooled down to, well, as long as it goes, it will actually cool right the way down. But what we'll do is we'll just turn on this guy for half a second. And when we throw our when we throw our iron in here, you can see it rapidly drops its temperature even faster, because now it's in a conveyor loader which is made out of steel, which has a much higher thermal conductivity. So it dumps the heat so much faster into the surrounding room. We'll probably notice, yeah, there's a slight higher current on this turbine, on the right-hand turbine compared to the left-hand turbine. This is going to continue dumping the heat out to get down to about 125, 130. This will finally ship that material out, and it's going to dump it right here onto this lovely metal brick here, which is being cooled by our thermo aqua tuner that's down in the other biome, or in the other volcano. So yeah, this is cooling it down to 60 odd degrees, which is more than adequate for dupes to finally handle it. Has that already shipped out? That's already shipped out. Finally, right at the top of the base, we have like our work in progress. We've just started on space exploration, and we have our very first rocket. It has done a couple of launches already. Yes, it's sitting in a pool of oil. Don't ask. Everything up here is so freezing cold that we're literally using the rocket just to warm up some of this crude oil we have down here and melt it. At least then we can actually use it. Of course, if I dig up this crude oil, it halves in mass, so we go from 3.2 tons worth of crude oil down to 1.6. But yeah, this is what we're using to launch off to space. And at the same time, we're sort of using it, like I said, just to heat up the surrounding area, just slightly. It's not working 100%. We still have, well, we have things melting and dropping down and instantly turning back to ice. That's great. So yeah, this is the base as it stands at the moment. As you can see, we have dug out not quite all the map at cycle 770, but we're definitely on our way. And at the same time, we should really look at the colony summary. There we go. So we have our 3 original duplicates, which I really hope we're on. Wow. We're on cycle 770, but obviously they haven't finished cycle 770, so these guys aren't, they're not age 770 yet. But yeah, we have our 3 original duplicates, and we've brought in lots of other duplicates. Oh, we've had a few that haven't made it, so we should really talk about those before we go. At the same time, yeah, we've got lots and lots of construction tasks. We have completed a lot of the achievements. There's still a couple to go, and some we won't get purely because of our playstyle. We won't get like Home Sweet Home because they have to have set morale. We're not going to get that because we're not going to treat the sacrifices that well. There's one here for getting... Nope. There's one here for having a nature reserve, which we have already made natural tiles, so we could do, but we're probably not going to do. Royal Flush, replacing all outhouses and wash basins in the colony with lavatories. We're holding on to our outhouses because we want to actually make a morgue farm. So yeah, there's a couple of these we weren't complete, but we'll complete most of them. As you can see, we're producing plenty of oxygen. We have made just a few calories with some absolute bumper crops here and there, which is generally when a whole horde of critters has been cornered, corralled, and evolved into their final form. We're producing more and more power. Most of this is actually geothermal. Between our geysers, really mostly our geysers, our natural gas generators, we've only got the 3 of them there. They do have the engine tune-ups, but we're not really using them that often. Most of our power is actually coming from geothermal at this stage, or taming geysers and that sort of stuff. We are consuming a lot of oxygen. We have had some big dips for, I don't know, maybe that's where we had a few duplicates leave us. I have no idea why that's so hard to read. We did start wasting a lot of power. That is when we first got our geothermal up and running, because I didn't have any smart batteries to hook it up to. At the moment, we were just trying to see how much heat we could actually delete. We've got lots of duplicates. Yeah, we have had a few dips. We'll explain those shortly. We are getting not a lot of work done, actually. I didn't realize how bad our travel time was. Our travel time's pretty bad. According to this, we've launched 0 rockets, but I've launched rockets, so yeah. We're still, funnily enough, we have all our proper duplicates, our Doomsday Cult accolades, who have 0 stress problems. A lot of them have a morale of like 40 plus and only have a morale need of about 20. The other duplicates, on the other hand, we do occasionally poke fun of them as we watch them smack their head against a tile trying to break it, or sitting on the floor crying in a corner. We are still domesticating creatures fairly regularly. Obviously, all our hatch farms died off because I accidentally changed the priority on the critter drop-offs, but that should correct itself. And we haven't had that many wild creatures to start with. We topped it at 62, which for most maps is honestly not a lot. And considering every single Pokey Shell we've left wild, and our pips are also wild. So that's the achievements really quickly. I forgot to mention the pips entirely. We've locked the pips in here with the mealwood. Literally, they're doing nothing. They're running around circles. They're cramped. They're unhappy. The only way we get them is from the printing pod. And yeah, I skimmed over this. This is to the Fallen Few. At 770 cycles in, considering our only Atmos suits are these 4 here. Oh, we finally put in some to go to space, but we've only recently done that. All this was built without Atmos suits in space. Yeah, we've been fairly harsh, and we've only lost, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've only lost 7 duplicates. What? You're kidding me, Muppet. You're an idiot. Done. Yeah, we've only lost 7 duplicates. I don't think any have actually burnt in a volcano yet, or been left in space. But you know, future plans. We do have a couple of volcanoes that need a quick look-see. We have had one of the sacrifices go swimming in magma. So, you know, there's plenty of options anyway out there. Anyway, that's it for this video. This is the base tour. We're up to episode 30, as I said. If you want your name in the series, by all means, whack your name down in the comments. More than happy to have on extra sacrifices. I've just actually got a whole bunch of names that I'm going to be adding over the next couple of episodes. If you'd like to have your name in the series and you wish to survive, I also very much appreciate any support you guys can give over on Patreon. As low as $2 per month will get your name in a series. At the same time, keep you alive to see the end of the series. Hopefully. You're 99.5% safe. Well, you're 100% safe 99.5% of the time. Yeah, let's go with that. So, you know, there's a fairly good chance. Anyway, with that said, I'm out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed this quick base tour. I know I say quick and it's been almost an hour, but it's a big base. There's a lot going on, and there's still more to come. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed. Oh, by the way, don't forget, look down the description if you want to see any of the builds we've gone over. Just about everyone I've actually done a separate tutorial video on in some way, shape, or form. Literally, look at the playlist, look down the list. You'll probably find something there that will definitely help you guys out in your own not included playthrough. Anyway, I'm out. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next one. Bye.